Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Ranger Fabworks. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a custom dual exhaust out of 2.5-inch pipe for my 2002 Chevy Suburban here. So let's do a walk around before we get started. This here is my 2002 Chevy Suburban LT 4-wheel drive with your standard issue 5.3 4L60. A couple of mods I've done to this truck so far is it has a 3-inch lift kit front and back. It's got keys up front, and it's got the heavy-duty towing springs in the back with adjustable air shocks, and it's sitting on two 85/75 16-inch tires, which they're about 33 inches. So I've got some more stuff I want to do to this truck coming up on the channel, but the first thing I want to get to is the exhaust. Now currently, as the truck sits, it has no cats, and it's got a Y pipe that goes into a thrush welded into the stock tailpipe. And I absolutely hate the way this truck sounds, so we'll go ahead and give you a little sound clip here of what we're working with. I have just a standard 2.5-inch U-bend exhaust kit that I got off of eBay. Super cheap. It was like 130 bucks. It comes with straights, 45s, 90s, U-bends. It comes with everything. And then this box here from Summit Racing. So we've got here just a standard 2.5-inch X-pipe and a pair of Summit Racing straight through mufflers. They're basically MagnaFlow knockoffs. So this whole kit was 260 bucks, 275 bucks shipped to the house. So it's really reasonable for what you get. Go ahead and break out the Sawzall, break out the grinding cutoff wheel, and let's get this old exhaust out of here and put it to rest once and for all. All right, so up under the truck, first things first, let's get this tailpipe out of here. All right, tailpipe's down. Let's go ahead and remove it from the back. All right, tailpipe's cut from the muffler, so we'll just go ahead and slip it out of the hanger here. And up and over the axle we go. All right, that's out of our way. Let's go ahead and cut the Y pipe off and get that out of our way. And then we could start mocking up the new stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right back here, right behind this O2 sensor, just so we don't gotta mess with that. Okay. So now then, we can just go ahead and slip this off this one hanger here. There she goes. And the old exhaust is out of here. All right, so what we got here is just a couple of straight pipes that come in the kit. The first thing you got to do before you even start working on these things is you've got to clean them, because they are so saturated with oils, they literally will destroy your hands. So there's a couple of different things you can use. You can use brake cleaner. I don't recommend that. Brake cleaner has a chemical in it that if you don't wipe it off completely clean, when you strike an arc, if there's any residual brake clean left on the surface, when it gases off, it'll actually shut your kidneys down. Google it. There was a severe case of it a few years back. Guy using brake clean, and man, he almost died. Acetone and xylene are probably the safest to use. I have lacquer thinner. Now, lacquer thinner comes with its own risks as well, but lacquer thinner evaporates a whole lot faster than brake cleaner does, and it's cheaper. So just give the pipes a quick little wipe down, get all the oil. I mean, that's essentially, that's what you're working with. You don't want any of that on. It doesn't weld good. It makes it a mess while you're trying to work under the truck. So just take a minute and just wipe them down. And like I said, do this at your own caution. If you want to use brake clean, I just strongly recommend giving it 5 to 10 minutes after you wipe it down, just to make sure you got everything off. So I'm going to go ahead and give these pipes a wipe down, and then we'll go ahead and set them up under the truck, and we'll start measuring and seeing where we want to put the X pipe. X pipes usually, in a perfect world, 10 to 18 inches from the manifold, where the downpipe meets the manifold, or from the header collector. In a perfect world where you're trying to chase every horsepower, sure, go for it. In the real world, where you're in a gravel driveway, working on your back, working upside down, wherever the X pipe fits is where it's going to go. This is a 2002 Suburban. I think the truck has 240 horsepower, something like that. We're not going crazy here. We're after sound, and yeah, a little performance, nothing crazy. All right, these are all wiped down. Let's go ahead and get back under the truck. All right, now that we're back up under the truck, I got our 2 pipes here. Let's go ahead and see. Now, I can tell you one issue we're going to run into immediately is this pipe here is oblonged, so we're going to have to crush it back down, and this one's slightly oblonged as well. So we could either oblong the pipe we're slipping on, or oblong this. So we'll see which one's going to work better in our case. What I might actually do is just trim this pipe back a little bit more, and that would give us more round, because this one's pretty close. This one I feel like if I just cleaned off the burrs, I can get that one. So let me mess around with this for a minute and just see what we can get, because my goal is, this is a hard area to get a welder up into, is up in here. So I'd like to clamp these, put a couple of small beads where you can reach them, and then weld the rest of the system. That's my goal anyway. I did that up here when I deleted the cat. I just put a clamp on it, and then I welded where I could get the welder in. Being on your back, you're kind of limited to what kind of access you can get. So let me go ahead and fart around with this. I'll bring you back in once I get a little more progress. All right, I got the X pipe mocked into place. I got the 2 pipes running up, and you can see where they join up there. So now what I'm going to do is put a tack here and a tack here to hold the X pipe in place, and then we're going to start running the pipes out to meet up with where we want the mufflers. So we go ahead and get this set up and get a tack on it, and I'll be back. All right guys, so what we got here is the front half of the exhaust built. As you can see, it's just a couple of straight pipes that go into the X pipe and then into the dual mufflers. Now, one thing I will tell you is make sure you leave a gap in between your 2 mufflers here. Don't weld the 2 bodies together, or what happens is this little end cap on the muffler is about an 1/8 inch bigger than the body. And what will happen is when the body heats up, it expands, and you'll get an internal rattle. And it'll drive you crazy wondering just what in God's earth it is. So the best thing you could do, just leave, I don't know, 1/16 to an 1/8 inch gap here. and put a metal rod or put a piece of strip metal in there, just something to tie the two mufflers together, but they have breathing room between them. So I'm gonna go ahead and fully burn this all in, and we'll get this back under the truck and we'll start working on the tailpipes. Got a little free tip Tuesday for you guys. Put these in your ears when you're welding. There is nothing worse than getting a hot cherry slag that goes right down into your eardrum while you're welding. It'll make you create new cuss words, I promise you that. So just take a minute, plug your ears, and then put your helmet down. It makes it a lot more pleasurable while you're welding. So I'm gonna get you guys set up and we'll start welding this together. Okay, another tip I can give you guys, good grounding. This needs to be in full contact with this at all times, or you're gonna get that crackly, poppy, scattered weld, not bacon sizzle. You could try to connect it in here, then it falls off. You could try to put it in here, then it gets in your way. Just get a vice grip, clamp it to the pipe real close to where you're working, and just clip it on. Now you've got a solid ground that's not going to get in the way of burning your pipes in. So let me go ahead and zoom you guys in. That's the upper part of that welded. So now I'm going to turn my attention to the bottom and weld up the mufflers. Okay, if you're starting out a YouTube channel like me, if you're gonna buy a camera, tripod, lens, and batteries, make sure the batteries that you buy for your camera actually belong to the camera that you're using. Because, yeah, I bought the wrong batteries and I had to wait about 2 days for those to come in. So off camera, I went ahead and finished up the exhaust system. So I'll go ahead and slide up underneath and I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, so you can see here we have the two pipes running into the X pipe, and then it comes on down and it goes into those straight through Summit Racing stainless steel mufflers. They're essentially MagnaFlows, but they're just Summit Racing's brand of them. So let me get behind the truck and I'll show you how I did the tailpipes coming out the back. All right, so at the back of the truck you can see those mufflers, and if I zoom in, as I showed you earlier, I've got just a piece of round stock that separates the two mufflers so we don't get that internal rattle. We got a hanger going up to the cross member there that's welded to the two exhaust clamps there, so that holds the center section of the exhaust up. And then we come back, we see both pipes go up over the axle. The driver's side one goes up around the spare tire, comes out, and then I had to do a little bit of a jockey to get around the spare tire to get it out under the bumper. And then on the passenger side, much easier to work with, just up and over the axle, around the spare tire, and out the back. Then of course we've got the nice 3-inch chrome exhaust tips coming out the back. I'm not big into the super big exhaust tips on trucks, so these are actually just AutoZone's 2-inch to 3-inch pipes, or exhaust tips, and I cut them and welded them to the 2.5-inch pipe because like I said, I just don't like big tailpipes. So, but I know the moment that we've all been waiting for. Let me go ahead and get this set up and we'll do a cold start and a couple revs for you. that's going to wrap up the exhaust build on my 2002 Chevy Suburban. I thank you guys for tuning in. I apologize for the video not being as in-depth as I wanted it to be. Up and coming YouTuber, so going to be putting out some more videos soon. We got a roadsteration on a 1968 MGB, getting it, not revival, there's plenty of revivals on YouTube. This is going to be what happens after you get a car running that's been sitting for a long time, how to make it more roadworthy, how to make it reliable, and how to make it more interesting. So we've got the MGB, we've got a 68 Buick Riviera, we've got my personal favorite, I got a 1962 Impala Super Sport convertible that needs everything. It's got a top on it, it's got an engine in it, but the front clips off of it, the interior needs to be redone, it's going to need quarter panels, it needs everything. And then of course we got a couple of V8 Rangers that we can show on the channel, plus we've got the random daily driver stuff too. So if you guys wouldn't mind, please like, subscribe, comment down below. If you could help grow the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So thanks for tuning into Ranger Fabrics, and we'll catch you next time.